going into the ditch. I'm your resident ditch witch, Tara Tyne, and we're about to get witchy whether you like it or not. So, the reason I'm here in my Rolling Stones 40 Licks concert t-shirt is because this video is all about magical transformations. Myself and Dave got invited by a good friend of ours to contribute a cover of a very well-known Christmas classic for her charity Christmas album this year. Usually she runs a concert called The Fairy Tale of Dundalk, and this year obviously that can't go ahead, so she's decided to put out an album. It's looking like it's going to be a very festive compilation and we're delighted to contribute to it. However, 6 days was a bit of a challenge. Myself and Dave received this challenge and thought, you know what, that's not hard enough. Let's also record a music video to go with this song. This week, myself and Dave, you can hear him working away there, have been magically transforming this tiny house into a recording studio fit for an orchestra and into a film set. Yeah. Back to my lovely towel and t-shirt combination. My own challenge for this week of magical transformations will be to go from this to something a bit more like the thumbnail on the start of the video. We've decided to lean into the vintage feel of the song that we are working on, and that's happening one way or another. So to kick the whole thing off, I am going to give myself some lovely curly hair, a la Rachel Maxey. I have been watching a few of her hair tutorials, and when I found these puppies amongst my mum's things earlier this year, I claimed them immediately and said, yes, I will do vintage hair before the year is out. So that's what I'm going to do. Tonight is just all about getting these rollers in and sort of giving you an idea of what exactly this week's video is all about. It's just been such a fun and festive week here, trying to get everything together. Okay, so I'm using this Tresemme stuff. It's thickening balm, and I don't usually use much for hair products. This is actually the first time I'm using this, so I can't say whether it's going to work one way or another. I'm hoping that at the very least it will give some kind of solidity to the curls that I'm going to attempt to make with these foam rollers, which I have never used before in my life. I really should have probably tried these out before I attempted to just put them in my hair on camera. As you can see, my COVID fringe is a manifestation of my inability to decide whether or not I want a fringe. So, thoughts and opinions on that in the comments, please. Aha! Is that an end? Rachel Maxey's always saying, tuck your ends in. But you know, that sounds like a lot of work, Rachel. Yeah, I feel like I should be using some of this stuff on everything. I don't know how much am I meant to use. It says on the back, how do I use it? The answer is collagen, fullness thickening balm, provides long-lasting, visibly thicker and fuller hair to help you create the look you want. That answers nothing. Oh, a small amount. A small amount I'm meant to have worked through my hair, so right, better get on that.
Oh boy, have you heard the news?
Doing this beside the fire is not ideal. Time is against me because my hair is drying rather quickly. I have the world's finest hair. I don't mean like the world's finest hair, yeah. No, I mean like it doesn't want to curl, doesn't want to go in the ponytail. Oh, it dries in 2 seconds flat, but it's very hard to put manners on fine hair and do sort of intricate hairstyles. So I don't often actually get round to putting curlers in and doing curls in my hair, but you know, there's always room in the ditch for a little bit of self-care and just treating my hair like something worth curling. Makes me feel kind of special. To Rachel Maxey, who does it 2 or 3 times a week though. Fair play to you, girl. So I'm going to leave these in overnight. I'm going to come back tomorrow, brush them out, show you my attempts to style those into something remotely vintage, plus makeup and some sparkly extras. It's the next day. I'm about to do this brush out. I've also already got my foundation on. I don't know if you can see that. I just want to say that I'm not going to go into recommending brands of makeup and things like that, mainly because I don't wear full face makeup all that often. I like to stick to a bit of mascara and lipstick, but the makeups that I have, I've had for several years, and these days I'd be more inclined, if I were to buy makeup, to try and buy cruelty-free versions. So I'm not going to do any plugging of non-cruelty-free brands here. So we've been very busy setting up the set for the music video. I've had my rollers in all night. They were kind of uncomfortable to sleep in, but they seem to have stayed in fairly well. I was a little bit afraid that these were going to be very small, tight, kind of tiny curls. Oh, but they seem to have come up really nice and shapely. That's brilliant. But the hair is getting stuck around them quite a bit, and if I was to do this 2 or 3 times a week, I'd probably have no hair left. These are the ones I'm most nervous about. The back of my hair I can fix up and sort of hide away in style, but here around my face I want it to be really nicely framed because we're shooting in a very small space, although we're going to try and make it look less tiny than it is. But I'll give you a little tour of our recording studio slash music video set, which is hilariously in the tiniest room in the house. It is a little bit permy. I would maybe like to try it with slightly bigger rollers, but you know, my fringe up here around the top was never really going to manage bigger rollers. Rachel Maxey says to brush them out, so here we go. She says to kind of floof it. She's got a great video on like poodle hairstyles from the 1940s, which is just amazing. I've wondered for a long time what I would look like with poodle hair. We are currently in the process of finding that out, people. Oh hey! Look at it doing a poodly thing! I am poodle. She said it would kind of start forming its own shape, and she is right. My rebel hair is beginning to conform, sort of. It's also a little bit like, no, that's baby in the corner. I'm really looking forward to shooting a big part of the music video this evening. Doing it with social distancing restrictions in place has been a bit of a challenge. But honestly, with 6 days to pull it off, the song that is not necessarily the video. We have another week or two on that, but I think even with more time and social restrictions in place, you know, we still just mightn't have been able to pull it all together and make it really much sparklier and Christmassier than it currently is. We've been shooting some of the B-roll this week, which is kind of, you'll see it in black and white now when I have the video put together. It's sort of the real behind the scenes. So there's been some of the recording for the strings and saxophone and drums taking place in the shop recording studio in Carlingford, County Louth. So I've asked my friend Jason, who owns that studio, to film some of the lines as they were being recorded, and he assures me that he has done that. So we'll be adding that in to sort of pad it out a bit, because it's surprisingly difficult to fill 3 minutes with quality footage at the best of times, let alone shot in one of the smallest box rooms in the world. So that is starting to look like something. I mean, maybe if I sort of... Hey, it's not bad. Not bad. We might be able to work with it. She also said finger waves I could be doing with some of that. Sort of, not really finger waves. Or is it? I don't know. But she said to kind of hold it. I probably should have been doing that earlier. But it's to kind of encourage it to shape around where your finger is. That's not really working. Well, it is a little bit, I suppose. So then maybe we try it again like here. Oh, hold tighter, Tara. Hold tighter. I don't think it's working. I mean, I think this is all too frizzy and too fluffy, and that's, you know, that's fair enough. I probably didn't use the right hair product. I think my curlers were a little bit too small, and these ends, oh my god. That was Rachel Maxey. She sees my ends and has manifested her wrath in the form of a cracking log, which put the shite clean out of me, I'm not gonna lie. I think that kind of decides it. I'm going to have to grow out my bangs, as she would call them. I call it my fringe. My rebel fringe that does what it wants and not what I tell it to do. Is that a success? It's hard to know. The finished video will tell us whether it was a success or not. I need hairspray. Okay, so as you'll see from the makeup part of my video, I'm a very hands-on kind of an artist. Like, for someone who worked as a face painter for quite a long and fulfilling lifetime in my younger years. And I used brushes constantly. I used nothing but brushes for that, but when it comes to doing my makeup, for some reason, I do a lot of it with my fingers. For my next trick, I'm going to attempt to do something with this poodly fluffiness. You know, I probably want it a little bit more like that. So I'm now just rubbing a little bit of this kind of serum-y stuff that I usually just use it for smoothing down my ends if I've straightened my hair or something like that, and it's just to give it a bit more definition and shine, make it slightly less poodly, you know. That's nice there. Now we've got something resembling a vintage curl going on. I'm gonna need a mountain more of that. Oh, I see now how the finger waves work. It's a pity it's a little bit too late for this bit at the front of my face. It's like it does quite literally sort of sculpt it into that wavy shape that you want. It brings it together and kind of weaves it. Reminiscent of felting, but with hair. For the next bit, I'm thinking go-go, and I'm thinking this little vintage wrap bun thing that I do. So I'm gonna turn around and show you that from behind. From behind. Okay, so I take it into a ponytail. Loosen the go-go a little bit. Wear the hair up. Make a little nest. And you just kind of twist the hair into it. Twisty, twisty, twisty. Oh no. Pins, why have you forsaken me? So, that is probably mostly the hair done, mainly because I'm kind of over the hair part now. So I think we're going to move on to the makeup now. Okay, so like I said, I already have my foundation done. And now it is just a matter of slapping the rest of it on there. This being a vintage inspired look, it's not from any particular era, you know. I mean, the hairstyle is kind of reminiscent of the sort of flapper faux bob look, or at least it was meant to be. And the makeup is gonna be just kind of high glam, maybe a slightly shaped lip just to sort of invoke those screen goddesses, because you gotta do something to cheer yourself up at this time of the year. Even ditch witches need to dress up and feel glamorous. Maybe ditch witches especially, because we're too busy felting things. So I've highlighted just a little bit below and above the eyelids to make me sparkle, although it just makes me look a little bit sick right now. Folks, eyebrows are my nemesis, okay? I have weird shaped eyebrows. I don't wax them or ever get them done anywhere or anything like that, and you know, I just do things that I kind of made up as far as I'm concerned, you know. Is it okay to use an eyeliner brush to sort of give the impression of dark eyebrows? I don't know. But you see, I can't find any eyebrow brushes. I can't find any eyebrow liners in navy, which is the colour that I currently like to have my hair. The only brush that I use is this when I'm doing my own makeup. Oh dear. Oh very, very dear. Well, it's something. And then they never match, do they? They never match. And I just look like a mama caterpillar being chased by its baby. I don't know, like the shaping is all wrong. But then my two eyebrows are never the same shape in real life, so, and people never be like, hey Tara, your eyebrows are different shapes. Well, my sister does. My sister's on eyebrow watch. She has excellent eyebrows. I have caterpillars. I don't know, how does that look to you? Looks a bit silly to me every time I do it, just because I'm not used to seeing myself with dark eyebrows, and all I can see is the mistakes and how they are not the same and how they are not realistic looking eyebrows. Not even close. I need to see now what eyeshadow colour is going to best match this kind of thing. Will I go with gold? Gold is always good. I think I'm going to have to go with this kind of greeny gold colour, just because it is the blingiest of them all, and it's kind of a greeny sort of gold, so I am hoping that it will just slightly better match my silver and green diamante necklace, which is actually a vintage piece of costume jewellery that I inherited from my grandmother when I was quite young. I used to love all of her costume jewellery, and she loved costume jewellery, so she had a lot of it, and each of the grandkids got a few pieces each after she passed to remember her by, and I still have every one of mine, and it probably in a way inspires me towards my occasional vintage day, my vintage notions. Okay, so I am really liking that gold there now. I think that's working quite well. It's going to be good in the video. Large and dramatic, and it's sort of, this eyeshadow has like a almost a two-tone effect to it, and it catches the light really nicely. Then I've got this cream eyeshadow in white, which I like to use to highlight just below the brow. I've been using this same cream eyeshadow palette since I was 14 years of age, when I was very excited to receive it in my Christmas stocking, and I'm still nowhere close to running out of this. Then that's probably more a testament to how rarely I go full glam. Now, trusty eyebrow brush is actually also my trusty smoky eyes brush. Starting to just bring out a little bit of very rough, very smoky definition on the eyes. I'm going to do fake lashes on this one, so I like to go extra dramatic with my eyeliner when I'm doing this. So first of all, I put on a base like this, a very rough powdered kind of base to give the idea of, you know, like a gradient of shadow coming from the upper lid. It's probably not very historically accurate, but I'm not really going for that, to be honest. I am a tourist in the world of vintage. I like to go for a visit once, maybe twice a year, but I like doing things the vintage way, you know, kind of make, do and mend, and creating things from branches. Okay, so now with my finger, I just do a very light coating on the top lid, just right on the eye socket up as far as the crease. And I'm also going to want to dot a little bit over this corner in the crease. Make sure that's well blended. It's the only thing about doing it with my fingers. I find sometimes here I get a bit lazy, and you know, you can see the creases where I haven't been very thorough, but that's starting to look pretty good there now. I also forgot my powder, which is something that I actually do use quite a bit of, and I'm very nearly out of it because I like to take that shine off and just give it a bit more of a matte finish. So there will be some preening and fixing up on the hairdo after I'm finished shooting this video, but I really need to see myself in a few different lights and see how it all looks with the outfit, which I still need to get on to me as well, and I don't think there's a zip in it, so that's going to be fun. Now the next thing I am going to do is eyelashes. I'm all for going natural, but I recently saw somebody made a pair of fake eyelashes from cockroach legs. I can't condone that kind of behaviour, folks. I am the first one to stand up and say waste not, want not, but I mean, there must be diseases. There must be diseases people be getting from doing this kind of thing. Just don't do that to your eyes. You need your eyes. Probably, I don't know. Do it if you want to. Reviews in the comments, please. Sorry, I should probably tell you what I'm doing here. I'm just putting the glue on my eyelashes, so give it a little second to dry. Believe it or not, I used to wear these pretty much daily when I was in my late teens and early 20s. I thought I was a fashion icon for a while. I'm working with this tiny mirror, so I don't actually have a mirror to do this in, so I may just attempt to do it on camera. Incoming. Yeah, maybe I won't. No, maybe I will. Okay, I think we just about managed to pull that off. Not bad, not bad. And I just realised I forgot to do my mascara beforehand. Amateur mistake. It's just been so long since I had my bat wings on. We're going to have to like double up on the mascara now. That is looking pretty good. Who's that lady? Who's that lady? Now we're going to do some eyeliner just to kind of tidy up the eyes a little bit. What I like to do just to disappear the line between the end of the lash, fake lashes, and your own eyelid is to just fill that line in there a little bit. Just a tiny little flick at the side to make it difficult to tell where the lash ends and where my face begins. Okay, so I should also add the blusher that I have thus far forgotten. Usually I do that first so that I don't already have eyeshadow on my finger, but what you gonna do? This is a cream blusher, which I don't know, it's like really hard to get cream blushers now. But I'm a big fan because, you know, you get that really blended look. Of course, all the rubbing with a cream blusher does make your cheeks look a little bit pinker than they actually are for a few moments, so sometimes it needs to be topped up a little. So for this, we're gonna want pretty defined Cupid's bow. And then I'm going to bring the shape of the lip out just a little bit to kind of give it that vintage feel. And then I'm going to use some lip ink to fill that in. And I find that lip ink is a marked improvement on cream lipstick, mainly because it stays in place a lot longer. I was always the one with lipstick on her teeth. Well, not anymore. That is so pretty, I almost feel like it needs a beauty spot. That's pretty much it for my hair and makeup tutorial for now. I think we've done a pretty half decent job. I think I'm almost ready for a vintage inspired music video for a Christmas song. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a little behind the scenes of our studio setup, and then we gotta shoot a music video. So have you ever tried to shoot a music video in lockdown? In a tiny house at Christmas? Because this is what happens. Well, for a start you get lost in all of the fabric that you put up, your very lovely backdrop in a tiny room. So small, in fact, that I can't even really get it all in to show you on camera. But needless to say, this is the box room, home of junk and musical equipment. But over this past week, it has been recording studio and video set, which is basically just some curtains hung in a very small corner. We're not sure if this is actually going to work, but we've done some test shots. They look pretty funky, and hey, we got a video to make, so we're basically going to go ahead now and start shooting that, and I'm hoping to grab some more footage for you as we go. So here we are. It's a couple of weeks since we shot the video, and as you can see, Christmas decorations have been put up. This is the lovely Dave, for those of you who haven't met him before. We're going to just talk a little bit about what we actually did during that whole process. So as you could see from the clip before, the room we were working in is tiny. The floor space was, what about?
The room was 10 by 6, but the floor space we had to work with was like 3 foot by 5 foot.
Yeah.
It was tiny.
Yeah, and by way of what you could actually fit into the shot, we had about a metre, just under a metre squared, as to where you could move when you were on camera.
Yeah, it was like a wee L shape you could walk in around all the lights and stuff like that.
Mind you, it was still large enough to keep an orchestra in, Dave.
It was.
Where did you fit them, Dave?
I fit it in my pocket. We had Melissa Hayes, who is fluent.
Fabulously
at
talented.
everything, like she is just.
Hayes.
So what I did is I threw a load of plugins on it to make it sound like double Melissa every time. So there's like 16 Melissas on that track.
Yeah.
And it's a massive thing.
She sounds like a whole string section, and you can see her playing the strings and the sax across all of the footage. Melissa played both strings and sax on the track. So did you do anything special to the saxophone to make it sound like it was being played in a concert hall?
Yeah, well, I put all of them together as one like orchestra, and then chucked a load of reverb on it.
As you do.
To make it, but I used like a chamber sound and the reverb, so it's made it sound like a chamber orchestra. And then like I sent them all to different channels and stuff, so that I was able to recreate them sitting in different places in the.
So it
in the
sounded
track.
like they were all sitting in different parts of the room.
Rather than being all squished together, they were all
spread out around a nice large concert hall style environment. Well, I always wanted to sing with an orchestra, and I think the marker of your achievement is that it really feels like on this track like I was singing with an orchestra. When I was recording the vocals and I closed my eyes, I could see me standing there in my big glitzy ball gown, and all of those musicians with me, except it was mainly just Melissa Hayes.
Yeah, it was. She's just amazing.
I'd kill her. I'd kill you, Tara. I actually kill her. I kill her. I kill Tara. I would have showered looking up ways to kill Tara.
And a one-woman orchestra. We also had Sean Conway, very, very talented piano player. You can spot him on the footage as well.
Yeah.
And we had the fabulous Ian Harold,
Yeah,
who managed to completely avoid getting photographed or videoed during this entire project, which is kind of surprising. So
because he got it all done in take number 1. There wasn't even time to set up a camera, like, you know, it's just done.
Yeah. So Ian's a real professional, and he was just the perfect man for the job, and it really sounds great. And that was all put together, as I mentioned earlier in the video, by our good friend Jason Varley in the Shop Recording Studios in Carlingford. Social distancing regulations in place, and everything was above board. He's got a really good setup for it out there. So it's been tough, but we managed it.
Yeah.
How did you find then when it was your turn to film me? Because we were filming each other, we couldn't really use a tripod. It had to be kind of a handheld camera. Well, when we say camera, we mean an iPad. So that was fun. How did you find it trying to keep me on shot?
I find it quite hard because the iPad, when you're recording, like, it zooms in and cuts off a bit of the frame, so you're actually like missing some of what you're shooting.
Yeah.
And so you'd go and take a shot, and then you look back at it, and there'd be a bit of iron and board.
You'd see a bit of iron and board and wallpaper and like tech shelf, and I found it was nearly impossible with the guitar. The reason there's hardly any footage of Dave in the video compared to, say, me, is because when he was holding the guitar, it was actually as wide as, if not wider than, the space that we were trying to film in. So I'm trying to get him to hold it up like this and do everything we can to just restrict him to that tiny space, and it was never really going to work. I don't know what we were thinking, but we said we were going to see it through to the end, and we did that, didn't we, Dave?
We totally did.
Yeah, we nailed it. Yeah. So as well as playing bass and guitar on the track and doing all the mixing and mastering of the tune in 6 days, by the way, in 6 days, Dave also had the fabulous job of, whilst I was shooting that hair and makeup tutorial, he was, you could hear him banging about in the background, he was in the box room trying to assemble this backdrop, which I don't think you can see it too clearly from the footage, but it was essentially 2 wire coat hangers, a load of duct tape, some old voile curtains, some fairy lights, some snowflake Christmas decorations, and I have to say, you hang a mean snowflake, Dave.
Thank you very much. The box room turned into like it was like a scene in like a bank robbery or something like that, and we've got the lasers, but instead of lasers, like, you're trying to go over lights and snowflakes.
Cables everywhere, and then occasionally we'd hear a tiny meow from outside our blanket curtain fortress because the cat needed some attention. So we can show you the finished product. The thing about this project is I can't really give you the full reveal, first of all because we were so busy that evening we actually didn't think to take a full picture, a full length picture or any footage of me actually dressed head to toe in the vintage. But we are going to give you a tiny teaser of the finished music video right after this. That will have to be your big reveal for this week, but the music video will be out in the next couple of weeks, and I'll be sure to let you know when it's out. But you can actually pre-order copies of the album that the single is on if you like. Again, it's called Fairy Tale of Dundalk, and I will put the link to the website in the description below.
All the funds for that go to the North Louth Hospice, which are a great charity here locally in Dundalk.
Yeah, a very worthwhile cause, and Melissa has been doing great work for them over the past 5 or 6 years with this Christmas event, so we would highly recommend. Hit subscribe for more fun and witchy adventures. I upload every Thursday, and for the whole month of December I'm doing 2 videos every week.
Slán agus beannacht. Goodbye and good luck to you.
Ba-dum, ba-dum.